Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming. I'm going to be commentating one game for you today. That's right, count it, just the one. I know I've been pumping out multiple videos daily on a regular basis recently, but today I only have time for this one. I was busy with a few Diablo videos earlier today. We also have one video from Eon Shikino that was posted earlier in the day, so you can check that out as well. I'm just getting ready for the tournament tomorrow. Also trying to rest my voice a little bit because it's going to be a long day of casting. But let's get into this game right here. The players involved. We're going to be taking a look at the game between one Shield and Vile Spanishiwa, and I was made aware, I don't know if this is even right, but I knew it was Spanishiwa, but then I saw Spanishiwa, which is what this says right here, and I figured maybe he just changed his name. I don't know if he wants it to be pronounced Spanishiwa, and since it sounds kind of stupid, I'm going to just say Spanishiwa. I'm going to go back to the way I was originally intending on pronouncing his name, and we're just going to stick with that. So yes, Spanishiwa has been all the rage lately. Lots of people loving his gameplay, wanting to see lots of casts from his. And what do? I go to Gosu Gamers. I just almost said Gesu Gamers. I go to Gosu Gamers today, and what's right on the front page for the replays? Highly rated, 10 out of 10 possible. Recommended replay, a game with Spanishiwa. So, you know, as always, I don't pre-screen these at all. Don't watch the games, but man, people have been loving Spanishiwa, and this game was given a recommended replay with a 10 score. So I had to cast it. There's no idea what's going to happen, so I'm looking forward to it one way or the other. Let's take a look over here. Shield's coming out with that barracks right now. You can see no refinery, so probably going to be going for a quick expansion, and I'm going to say likely a 1 racks expand, because if he was going 2 racks opening, we probably would see that second racks already. There we go. I was a little bit worried he would drop it and make me look like an idiot. Now over here for Spanishiwa, what do we see here? Coming down with that 1 hatchery, we can see still no gas, still no pool, and this is what he has become really known for, delaying that gas for quite some time and playing queen heavy. This is what we've been seeing a lot of Spanishiwa builds revolving around, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that's what he did this game as well, sticking with what he's used to. Marine moving down. We can see the one drone moving on up. He's going to scout that expansion and actually lifting off the barracks. Going to be dropping to go with that wall off over here to try to protect his expo. Drone needs to be a little bit careful because he's in danger, of course, of losing that. Now, taking a look back in Spanishiwa's base, we can see that Shield has gotten a good old scout of that, fully aware of what's going on. He also saw the lack of gas, and again, knowing Spanishiwa and his playstyle as of late, not too surprising. Now, taking a look over here, Shield coming down with that first refinery right now. So it looks like he's going to be preparing to make that transition sometime relatively soon. We can see that that command center getting close to finish right there, about 50% of the way through. Spanishiwa finally out with that expo, and what's going down over here? Actually, Shield a little bit concerned about a quick expo to the third, so did want to move up there just to take a gander. As we see, that is not the case. We do have the 2 queens making their way on out, as well as 8 zerglings. 8 zerglings going to be trying to stream through. We can see Spanishiwa is fully aware of that wall off, and actually just came down recently. These 2 barracks just recently got placed up here by Shield, so I think Spanishiwa was trying to take advantage of the fact that there wasn't that completed wall off in coming out with those 8 zerglings, but now not going to be as useful. You can see he was rallied all the way over there, but actually pulling them back for the time being. Probably going to wait till he gets these additional zerglings. There we go. So he's going to be pulling down right now, and what is he doing? Is he going to go for that? Yes, he is! Spanishiwa, we are 5 minutes into the game, and he is getting a third right now. So Spanishiwa, very, very bold move right there, and that's exactly what Shield actually scouted for only a minute ago. So a little bit late on that scout. We can see Spanishiwa going to be moving on down with these zerglings. Not going to be able to do a lot, though. We do have these Marines behind this wall, and those zerglings by themselves aren't really going to be able to bust through these barracks. The only chance he really would have of that was to bring up some roaches and or banelings to bust through, but just even with the small amount of Marines, it's going to be more than enough. We can see Shield also coming down with these 2 bunkers just in case there is some sort of a bust planned. We do see the 1 factory coming out over here as well. Shield sitting on those 2 refineries at his main, none at his expo as of yet, and again, Spanishiwa has in fact gone for a 3rd expansion, so very, very bold move. Still no gas. I mean, look at this, breaking 40 supply. We are 6+ minutes into the game, and Spanishiwa is very comfortable without gas. Now, I suppose the thing to really consider, and the real big concern for Spanishiwa would be like, well, what if cloak units came out? You know, what if you saw some cloaked banshees? You'd be kind of screwed, right? Spanishiwa could, of course, respond by getting that Evo chamber and getting some spore crawlers up, and that would work. That would work just fine. I mean, obviously, you can't have the spore crawlers detecting everywhere, but as long as you were covering those prime important areas, you would be quite a-okay. Now, let's take a look at what Shield is going to be doing. Looks like he's coming out that stim, going to be moving in that Reaper, trying to get a scout with that. That's actually a phenomenal phenomenal idea. That factory with that siege, that tech lab attachment just coming in, so gonna be seeing him come out with some stuff right there. Gonna be looking to get those tanks. There we go, and Spanishiwa's third has finally popped. Gonna be transferring some workers down relatively soon, I would imagine. He does have that queen making its way through. Looks as of now just gonna be making use of that larva, not getting much mining out of there quite at this moment. And taking a look in his base, we can see coming out with that layer at his expo, and obviously the idea behind that is that it's going to be a little more easier to defend your expansion because a layer has more hit points than a regular old hatchery. Moving on up though, Reaper Scout coming down from shield, and what is he going to see? Look at that, spotting the Baneling Nest. Going to try to get a few kills off here. Needs to be careful from that queen though, and since Metabolic Boost isn't anywhere near finished, this Reaper can actually do tremendous amounts of damage. Very hard to deal with the Reaper. Now he of course wants to leave the creep once those Zerglings do come into play, but very hard to deal with Reaper without Metabolic Boost. But look at these queens getting lots of damage down. That Reaper very close to death. He needs to try to stay away. A few drones chasing it. Going to be moving on down, and it looks like he will scout the third. So Shield now fully aware of the third. Almost got off that one last kill. That Reaper definitely paid for itself, though. It got a few kills. We can see that transfer of drones finally coming down, but it got a few kills, but most importantly, he got the scout. He saw the Baneling's Nest, and he saw the third. So those were the things, the kind of really vital things, and the vital amount of information that he wanted. We can see centrifugal hooks making their way on through. Also, Spanishiwa trying to scout for that possible third from his opponent's shield. It's still having those Zerglings. So he did. He just has the one right now. Going to be scouting out the front of the base there. What do we have coming over here? Yes, we do have an Overseer moving on in, getting a full scout most likely of Shield's base. Looks like he's going to see everything here, spotting the engineering bay, spotting that one starport and two barracks. Does he actually see those right now? He does see the one. And he didn't actually see the factory either. I'm not sure. Spanishiwa not paying quite enough attention. Is he getting harassed right now? I'm so really surprised. He just kind of let that Overseer just die. That was actually very unnecessary. I'm a little shocked. There must have been something else going on that I just missed. I'm sorry, guys. If you spotted it, let me know. But I didn't see that. Baneling's coming on in right now. Just about finished. Those centrifugal hooks just about finished as well. We do also, look at that, we do have the speed coming in for the Overlords. And Shield's going to be moving on down with some medevacs here. He might actually be trying to make a push into the back base. If he can get a tank down here and get vision of the high ground, that can actually do tremendous amounts of damage. And look at this, fully aware that that might be happening. Spanishiwa is going to be trying to get these back rocks down, but it's going to take quite too long, and Shield has free reign to take these out. There we go. Those Zerglings not going to be able to break through those rocks before we actually start to get some damage here. So what we want to see Shield do, what's going to be most effective, is putting the tank right here, getting vision on the high ground, and just blasting away at that Baneling's Nest. But what's going on right outside of the base of Shield? A ton of Banelings sitting up there. We do have a supply block here from Shield as well. That's a very unfortunate, but this is exactly what Shield wanted to do. Take a look at this. The Baneling Nest is going to drop unless we see some sort of response from Spanishiwa, but I think he's just going to be going for a counterattack. Lots more Banelings coming through. Spanishiwa definitely planning to bust through that front wall. Shield, hopefully he's ready for that. He needs to get some tanks up here. He really needs that tank, that splash damage, so important. And look at all of the barracks coming down. Shield doing everything he can to prepare for this. This actually should work quite well for him. I think that, oh my God, so many barracks going down, but that's what he needed. Now, taking a look back over here, again, going to town in the base, and here comes a bust at the front of the wall. So many Banelings rolling through. This is just too many Banelings, even with that additional wall, that tertiary wall of barracks there. It wasn't enough. Speedlings moving on in, gonna mop around these siege tanks right now, and lots of damage going down from Spanishiwa inside of the base of Shield. Gonna be stopping the building construction of this command center. Back in the base though, we can see Spanishiwa has lost his main, and luckily that wasn't the layer. Again, we do have the layer over here for Spanishiwa, so very good move on his part, trying to move back in with some additional Zerglings. The wall off isn't completed. Shield leaving a gap right there. Zerglings managing to run in, gonna get some more kills off right here, getting a full surround though of those Marines. Might even drop the siege tank, very close to dropping that siege tank. Shield needs to finish off this wall, but again, big benefit here for Shield, even though he got busted there. And I mean, looking at it, he didn't lose a ton. These barracks got canceled, so it's not like he lost all these barracks that we're building. He didn't lose all those resources. He lost the one barracks in the front. I think he lost one in the back as well, and a few Marines and tanks, but not that bad. But another Baneling push coming right now, and again, that gap right there, very unfortunate for Shield. He's obviously not aware of that, going straight in the resource line. So much damage going down on all of those SCVs, and Shield took a tremendous hit to his economy right there, and that right there, maybe the death of him, that was absolutely huge. And the reason I say that is because let's take a look right now at the unit tab. We've got 20 SCVs as opposed to the 52 drones, and even with Spanishiwa losing this hatchery, he's got this natural right here. He's got a third over here, also the fourth, and look at this fifth right now. Now he's only on 4 bases right now, but he should hopefully get his main back up at some point in the future. So even though Spanishiwa let his Baneling nest drop and let his main drop, again, he didn't lose the layer because it was sitting over here, and he also did a lot of damage with that secondary Baneling push, taking out so many SCVs. Shield is definitely going to need to get up another Expo to try to get back in his footing. He's first going to work to probably saturate this Expo, though, and we do have that Barracks Scout going around, and what's going on over here? Another medevac filled with Marines, and it looks like he actually decided not to drop. I'm surprised he didn't try to snipe down that spawning pool. Do we have another one coming in? I hope we do. I hope Spanishiwa has another spawning pool coming in, because he's there we go. So another spawning pool is over here. So I guess that wasn't absolutely vital, but I'm not sure that he even knows about that. But look at this Barracks Scout, gonna get pretty much a full scout of everything that's going on. He sees that there's a lot of tech over here. He saw that infestation pit with that, and here we go, finally moving out to expand. But this is a very, very vulnerable position right now. Very difficult to defend. He's gonna need to get a few tanks down there, as well as some Marines to protect those tanks, just in case there was that muta transition. Now we know that there isn't, but Shield, he's not quite aware. There are still a couple bases that he hasn't scouted out, so there very well could be that Spire. But either way, gonna need to get some defenses down here. Just so very vulnerable. So many Zerglings on the board right now. Lots of upgrades coming out. We do have the Burrow as well as the Pathogen Glands. Carp is level 1 and the melee attacks level 2. So Spanishiwa taking advantage of his superior economy right now and just getting tremendous amounts of upgrades. We can see that the army size, Spanishiwa is slightly ahead right now at about, actually no, just even that up there. So Shield getting pretty close. But Spanishiwa still a good 10 to 15 food ahead. But look at this push coming straight across the map right now. And scanning down on Spanishiwa's army, he sees the Zerglings and the Banelings setting up the shop over here with those siege tanks, and that's going to be very hard for those Banelings to push on. Banelings going straight for the Marines, though, and Zerglings rolling up on the tanks. This is precisely what he needs to do. Lots of damage going down, trying to get us around. The splash damage from those tanks, of course, quite effective, and it looks like nice job by Shield by spreading out those tanks, was able to deal with that push there. Scan going down, wants to take out a few of these creep tumors if he can. Needs to be a little bit wary of those Banelings there. Should be able to snipe those down before they come in, however, and it looks like Spanishiwa actually might be in a little bit of trouble. But infestors and fungal growth going down, and look, since the patch, fungal growth just decimates Marines. It is absolutely unbelievable how effective that is against Marines now. Just absolutely tremendous. Needs to be careful of that siege fire, though. Doesn't want to take too many hits. Look how slow and funny those infestors are off the creep, and here we go, trying to push into the space over here. He needs to get in here and try to take this out. If Spanishiwa can do this, he's going to be in a great position. Infested Terrans going down to try to take out the siege tanks. Burrow going down there on those infestors as well, and not responding with the scan. He actually lost those tanks, so even if he did scan, wouldn't have done him much good. And look at this, infested Terrans going to be taking out the Expo over here. So Spanishiwa just being absolutely relentless so far in this game. Needs to be a little bit careful trying to save that orbital command. Definitely a smart idea. He needs to keep that thing in the game. He's very low on resources, just trying to build enough to defend against this relentless assault here from Spanishiwa. And actually going back to I think in the last matchup I casted on this game, I mentioned Sneak Attack, which was the Magic the Gathering card, and Relentless Assault. That's another one as well. Things are all coming back to me now. It's been a few years since I've touched that game. But I tell you, it was a lot of fun. I kind of miss it. But anyways, let's get back into StarCraft from one nerd game to another. Infestors and Zerglings burrowed right underneath the barracks over here. Barracks continuing up its consistent scouting, and we do have a transition to Ultralisk. So look at this, just completely avoiding any thought of Mutalisk in this game, sticking with the Speedling, Baneling, Infestor, and then into Ultra. Very, very interesting play here from Spanishiwa. And again, for Shield, it's just so difficult. He's been on his back foot so much in this game, even with taking out that main hatchery. He's just been in such a tough position. Actually, Shield's going to be trying to move into what was once the main here of Spanishiwa, and I'm not sure that's actually going to be the best for him because there is not a lot going on over here. He actually didn't try to rebuild that, just didn't even bother. And moving in, he sees that there, of course, is no hatchery there. Gonna spot that Overlord, and yeah, there we go, dropping those Marines. He needs to do some more dropping, though. He needs to really try to hit the econ. That is what Shield needs to get back in this game, because he's just in a really tough position right now. Going to be sniping down this Overlord. Probably going to be going for that spawn pool very quickly. That's a quick kill. And actually does manage to supply block Spanishiwa, so that was quite beneficial for him. Lots of Zerglings as well as those Ultras moving on down. But again, Spanishiwa just says, I don't need air. Who cares? Who cares? I don't need air. I don't need anti-air. He does have some semblance of anti-air with the Queens, as well as those Infestors and Infested Terrans. So if he were to deal with Banshees or anything like that, he could take care of it. Lots more Banelings coming in. Banelings going to be a little hard pressed, though, to move into the siege line. Quite a few tanks set up shop over here. Would even be cool if he gets some stuff on the high ground, especially considering the lack of air from Spanishiwa. But just in a really tough position. That's all I got to say about that. Right now, 180 to 144. Spanishiwa mounting up another attack, continuing this relentless assault again with the Magic the Gathering terminology, pushing on in now. And those Ultras just going to do tremendous amounts of damage. They're taking lots of tank fire. Banelings rolling up the back as well, but a really nice spread from Shield. He needs to keep those Marines away from those Banelings. There we go. Those Ultras, though, take an absolute beating before they get dropped. He just plowed through so many siege tanks. That Ultra line with those Banelings followed up right after that, losing a few Marines. Losing a few Zerglings to the Marines, and Shield feels like this is the time to go for that counterattack. We do still have these Infestors over here. In fact, those did not come into play in the last battle, and this push, it needs to be a little bit wary about that. Hopefully it gets a scan down. Needs to be careful. Fungal growth, just as expected. Losing a lot of Infestors, though. That was actually really bad. Unfortunate play there from Spanishiwa. He took a lot of siege fire when he lifted up those Infestors and actually lost quite a few. But what he did do is mop up most of the Marines, so the siege tank's going to have a hard time pushing forward without the support of that infantry. We can see Shield nicely, what does it mean? What am I even talking about? It's just putting down a command center over here, and nothing's nice about it. But yeah, anyways, finally expanding as he needs to. Very vulnerable right now, these siege tanks. Need to pull back. There we go. That could have been quite unfortunate had he left that there for too long. And I think a really big problem so far in this game for Shield is because he's been consistently focused on defending from the constant attacking and the constant harassment from Spanishiwa, he hasn't done much aggression. We did see that one drop push with the siege tank setup, dropping down that Baneling's Nest and actually also dropping the main hatchery. But since then, there hasn't been a lot of harassment in between these bouts, in between these big fights. We need medevacs filled up with the Marines sniping down. I mean, if he did a dual drop, one over here and one over here, he could take so many workers out, and that's exactly what you need to do. If you stay turtled up, you're in a really tough position. A couple Overlords moving on through, probably going to be used primarily, not probably, but they're going to be used primarily for scouting. Probably just going to be moving those into the main. He wants to check the composition, wants to see if there's any sort of transition coming so that he can properly deal with it. But again, look at this. Shield still just sitting back, and this is unfortunately to say, this is really tough for him. If he does not push out, not even some big doom push, but like I said, dropping here, stim pack on those Marines, you can just tear through those workers so quickly. And that's the kind of thing that you need to do, because he's letting Spanishiwa just sit here, and he's letting Spanishiwa just use all of his larvae for army since he doesn't have to rebuild any drones, and that's a problem. Shield looks like he was trying for another push, but oh no, I missed the creation of it. But look at this Nidus Worm in the main here of Shield, and going to be going to town on these production buildings. Tons of Ultras. We do have just the 3 actually. There's a 4th one, and a lot of Zerglings. More Ultras streaming in. I can't even believe Ultras can fit in that bad boy. But just going to town here. Shield was forced to push back because of that, and just to deal with this, trying to push on through, but having a hard time funneling his units through because of those production building placements. And look at how many these Ultras just tearing through these supply depots. And look at this, only has 100 available supply, dropping steadily here, and lost so many depots. He is so low on resources. He can't build anything for quite some time right now, and this is a really bad position for Shield. He lost nearly all of his depots. You can see down. Oh my God, completely missing that. The caster even missed it. The burrowed Ultralisk coming back up once the army moves to kill a few more depots, and losing one more. Might even lose another one before this tank manages to drop these Ultralisks, and he does. But at the same time, we do have another Nidus Worm coming through on the expo over here, and actually Zerglings trying to take out this planetary fortress is something you never see, just because they're so ineffective. And actually, I think this is not going to work quite well for Spanishiwa, but at the very least created some sort of distraction and forced the entire army here of Shield to move over. Shield is in a very bad spot. He's sitting on 172 food right now, but the problem is He just can't. How did he refill that so quickly? What did he do? I guess it doesn't even matter because we have some more coming on in right now. I'm interested to see how he refilled that so quickly. I'll take a look in just one moment, but look at this. Another Nidus Worm pushing on through and just continuing to destroy the main production buildings here of this base. And Spanishiwa has just been far too much for me to handle. Realizing that the army's coming back over here for shield after throwing some banelings in there. Going to actually be moving on back into the Nidus Worm and probably heading back home with that. And he's leaving these up. This is a problem right now. Shield is leaving these up. He's letting the Nidus Worm sit here, and this is not what he wants to do. Banelings rolling straight into that resource line, also trying to do what they can to that planetary fortress, and he just let that Nidus Worm sit there. Unless it was rebuilt one more time. We do have a ton more Ultras coming on through, as well as some Infestors and Zerglings. And where did Shield... Okay, so Shield dropped a bunch of depots over here. I was wondering how so quickly, because he was so low. But either way, look at that. Baneling rolling on forward here as well. And there is another Nidus Worm, just absolutely intense with these Nidus Worms. Another one sitting over here as well, and he's just continuing up this Nidus Worm production, being absolutely, again, relentless. Just that is the way we can describe Spanishiwa in this game, just absolutely relentless, not allowing Shield even the tiniest bit of breathing room. Planetary Fortress might actually drop here, and yes, it will. Ultra's cleaning that up very quickly at the same time, though. Shield's going to be pushing out. He is fed up with this. He's had enough, trying to move out and trying to take out Spanishiwa as he's inside of his base. Just going to actually be sticking with his one Ultra and a few Zerglings, and oh boy, going to be hitting that supply cap again. So Shield needs to push out, needs to do a lot of damage. Again, needs to really be careful about these Infestors, all sitting at full not mana there, but energy, and that's a problem because look at those fungal growths going down. Not as effective though on those guys over here, but at the same time, Ultra's going to the main here of Shield, and Shield just losing absolutely everything. In fact, he's down to like no production buildings right now. Lots of tanks, not a lot of infantry units, so it does have a few Marines over here. Needs to be careful. Look at that, a fungal, not that fungal growth. Geez, I'm really having a hard time with my words here. That neuroparasite going down, and the tank just doing so much damage here. Finally did manage to snipe that down though. He would have been in a lot of trouble if he let that sit up for too very long, but again, Spanishiwa just absolutely relentless here. There are no more production buildings, so Shield's only chance is if this push actually succeeds. Spanishiwa's gonna need to take this out if he's gonna be able to want to actually take this game officially. I mean, obviously he's been in a tremendous lead for quite some time with that non-stop harassment, but obviously Shield at the same time has an opportunity to do a lot of damage. He does have no mining going on right now at all, just been completely stopped. He's lost all of his production buildings, actually lifting off a few things over here, dropping that sensor tower as well. So Shield staging up. He wants to push out. Spanishiwa going to be making his push right now. Also coming out with that Nidus Worm, moving on forward from multiple angles. Lots of Fungaros going down. Ultras moving on in, doing so much damage. And just look at how much damage those Ultras can soak out. Fungal growth going down, though, on the, my lord, that was not even a GG. I am sorry that that ended that fast, and that was very anticlimactic, I would have to say. But this game has been intense, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I would say if I only cast one game a day of that intensity, then it's been a good day. So as always, guys, this has been Force from Force Strategy Gaming. Again, I'm going to be live casting all day tomorrow, the grand finals of the New England StarCraft 2 League. It's taking place in Dover, New Hampshire. The live cast, the live stream is going to be available on my Diablo 3 channel, youtube.com/ForceD3Strategy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this cast. We also have another cast from Eon Shikino coming out today, and that about does it. So as always, guys, if you like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Keep watching and keep owning.